Hey folks, Wes Truther here, GWT. How many of you folks never consider, never even think about the possibilities of your door being kicked in, or a smoke bomb, or a concussion grenade coming through your bedroom or your living room window or kitchen window? How many of you just never have considered that at all, ever? Good for you. Hey folks, GWT. We're all being done terribly wrong by those same ones as were and presently are assaulting and systematically doing their agendas as the world ethnic cleansing continues. See, they're above us, they're better humans than us, they're more intellectual, they're more intelligent than us, they deserve more than us. You got to understand that's what's going on, and I don't know where your mind is on this, but it should be on it at least. Do you not believe that this is reality and this is going on? You just don't believe it. And if you do believe it, or know from your own deductions, why are you not touched more than you are about it? What you know and sense and believe shouldn't be sitting idly in your mind. You cannot trust scientists or doctors in general. You just can't. Like the money laundering and deceptive programs of NASA, $50 million a day. NASA, like that comedian guy, can't think of what his name is, but he's a hell of a comedian. He's an actor. He's that spokesman for NASA. Just can't think of his name. He has all of NASA employees telling you that 97% of the world's scientists agree with anything NASA says. And you don't think about they all work together for the same boss and their checks are written on the same accounts, and you follow right along and quietly pay tribute. They learn from what is taught them to do and say by the same ones who pay them with your money to deceive you with it and for it, for that money. That's a good job, ain't it? You get paid to lie and cheat and steal and rape and rob and pillage and murder. What a job. Folks, GWT, and those that you support and follow who claim prophetic and Christianity, they're following NASA's lies and telling you to follow NASA as well. And actually those who know about some of the lies of NASA, you can key that into the search bar on YouTube. I did a long time ago. Boy, was I surprised. And those who know about some of the lies of NASA and follow those who claim to be Christian leaders, you're operating with a Christian mind, and that is serving your God and mammon too. Think about it. Two masters at the same time with your double-minded ways? Think about it. If you claim Christianity and you follow those MFers that's preaching support your local government, then you're a fool following the government's lineup of liars. And it is quite extensive. They're false prophets, and they're actually acting out against humanity, and they are nothing more than that, actors for hire. People give good information, telling you about things that can hurt and destroy life. But only very few tell you actually what is happening to you by the things they tell you about. To know the reality and the seriousness of their industrial weapons for the Earth's depopulation. Check that out. Industrial weapons for the Earth's depopulation. Google search it and key this exactly into the search bar. Industry weapons for the Earth's depopulation. You're going to be surprised. Look it up. Look it up. You remember things better when you gain knowledge of anything by learning the collected knowledge of others who has knowledge from everywhere that they can get it on any topic or on any issue. They have your own interest in mind, and even though they're way out there with what they're learning, They want you to catch up. That's why they give you this information. That's why they tell you these things. I wish you would please just consider them. I would tell you folks, when my videos are playing, turn your head away and do not look at my face. Just listen to what I'm saying. Be lazy, be content, or be scared of some of the multi-methods to sicken you and to murder you or experiment on you, as in military and corporation testing methods of death on all civilians and all life who is not in the circle of the New World Order. The New World Order is the one that's calling the shots, folks. And I mean, you know, you might say, oh damn, if I knew but a small amount, then I would be able to think better. Well, you don't know because you're not accepting anything anybody tells you. You can find fluoride, microwaves, preservatives, additives, disease, genocide. Did you look at the artworks of the video picture? Because I'm going to try to put it up. I'm going to try to get that picture on the face of this video right here as a, anyway, I want you to look at the picture, and I want you to consider the picture when you start thinking about industrial weapons for the Earth's depopulation. Just look at that video picture, because the industry weapons are really tearing us up, folks, and y'all need to do something about that. Have you ever read or listened to the Illuminati doctrine? Look it up, folks. Look it up and listen to it be read to you, or read it yourself. Oh man, it's right on time with what's going on today. And it was on time 10 years ago, it was on time 20 years ago, it was on time 50 years ago. You really owe it to yourself, and get a copy of it if you can. I'd listen to it about 5 times as I do. It helped clean some cobwebs out of your head. It's very old and is the strongest and most fulfilled of all doctrines, to include the Bible. Yeah, that's a bold statement. I'll repeat it. It's very old, and it's the strongest and the most completed and fulfilled of all doctrines, to include the Bible. Just listen to it. Listen to it and then open your mind. You're going to say, wow. Don't believe it? Then I dare you to learn that doctrine the same way you know the Bible doctrine, and then compare the two. You know right now, and you will know. Take them and compare the notes. That's what you got to do. Either you will be a liar to yourself, and maybe others too, or you'll see, and if you see and hear and learn some small portion of what I have studied for quite a few years, you will wake up. You'll wake up more to the point of anger than anything else, because you're going to go through some emotional stages. And anger is going to be one of the last ones, if not the last one you get to. And folks, if you knew a small portion of what I know, you'd already be fighting mad. No surrender, fighting mad type stuff. That's how bad we're being done, folks. That is how bad 9/11 and the years prior to 9/11, when they planned this all out to make a lot of money and to bring terrorism into a big act. Folks, they treat me and think that I'm a terrorist because I say that I'll shoot anybody. Anybody that's threatening me. I don't give a damn who it is. They could have a long robe on and have hair down to their waist. I'll plug them too if I can. All the New World Order and their uniformed motherfuckers, especially our police departments. They expect us to smile and be thankful and be grateful and just give them their way. That's what it's all about. Giving the ones who's killing you and bossing you and corralling you and mistreating you and not standing up for you like the police should be. They should be investigating this government. They should be making arrests. There should be shootouts in fucking federal buildings by the cops and the feds. That ain't going on. Them cops ain't nobody. They're no civilians' friends, man. They want to make you think that this severe weather is God's punishments. And you know who does that, folks? Hey, folks, GWT. They're paid and coerced and helpers for the government who are pushing the word of God on you and telling you that God is responsible for these storms. They want to make you think that the severe weather is God's punishments. But they have used their machines for war so much that many more people should know the works of their machines by now. And they should realize the storms are done by the war machines, and all those who tell you that some God is responsible are stupid as lint, or working for those who own and operate the tectonic scale machines of mayhem and war and anything else on the life. And folks, they aim it wherever they want to take something next. The next place they have interest in, that's where they train their heart machine. Hey folks, GWT here. Those that control these HARP and these tectonic weapons, their problems are some of humanity is waking up. And they're starting to notice things and talk about some of them. Very, very few though. It ain't a lot, folks, because y'all ain't spreading nothing around. Some people, they're waking up and starting to get interested. The dots can be connected and the emotions will be affected. You will feel like a fool, then you'll feel hurt, you'll feel disappointed, and then you will start to think and you will experience anger, and often rightly so, folks. I sent a package. I got to tell you about this. Hey folks, GWT. I sent a package by UPS to a doggone it. Bummer. I'll start it again. Hey folks, GWT. I sent a package by UPS to a FedEx location that the recipient, the intended recipient, had worked out at that FedEx prior to the letter with name and phone number on the outside of the envelope was rejected. When it got there, it was rejected, no excuse and no considerations. And the agent who rejected that package was told to reject it. The ones who conspire knew the contents and blocked the delivery, and they broke their own laws, their own practices, lots of state and federal. If you wanted to nitpick, if you had a gazillion-dollar lawyer in on that and he was going to do a lawsuit, I bet you he could find 6 to 8 violations. It breaks FedEx business policies and normal activities. Then a second attempt I made. This time I sent it certified mail, restricted delivery. That means a card to notify the recipient to go to the post office with identification and make a signature, and then they could have the package. Folks, it's not unusual for mail carriers to disregard because technically that letter is supposed to be left in the post office and a notice delivered to the mailbox. That's what the procedure is supposed to be. Sometimes a mail carrier, if it's a small area post office, everybody knows each other, they'll take that registered or that certified letter with them to save the person a trip to the post office or for other reasons. In this case, let me read on. You're really going to like this. It was supposed to be restricted delivery. A card to notify the recipient to go to the post office with ID and signature. The mail carrier took it to the recipient's home minutes after the recipient's departure to work and rendered the letter contents. They rendered the letter and its contents to someone else who is the one person whom that letter was not supposed to fall into the hands of. And the contents needed to be kept from that person to begin with. Very serious stuff, folks. I sent data sticks, thumb drives in that envelope the first time when they turned it down, and the second time when they gave it to somebody who was not going to let it get to the recipient. They block the recipient the first time because they know everything that I do, and they're one step ahead of me on everything. They really do actually control everything. He has now opened it, and he's spread it around, and he's sharing the contents, and he's still refusing any part of it to the legal recipient. And he's threatening her with it and having it under his control in its own self as a threat. This too, this whole bunch of crap has been controlled. That's what kind of a reach they got, people. This ain't a stroke of bad luck. That mail carrier violated when she let him take that thing, regardless. And now he's in violation from withholding the mail from the intended recipient. Opening it, that's another violation, or two. That's mail business to that's certified. I mean, folks, that's a lot of bad stuff. But they know my every communication, and they know my every plan, and they know what was going to be in that, and they didn't want her to get to it, but they wanted to know what's in it, so now they did it the best way they could. Give it to him, who's going to make it open to everybody, except her, I'm sure. They know folks, they know the contingencies that I've been trying to set into place too. Question for you. All right, I have a question for you folks now. So as far as that episode goes, I can't get snail mail in and out. You would think with all the years I've been and all the postings of my home address and my email address and giving out my phone numbers, there ain't more than about 20 people contacted me in 3-4 years, folks. They block everybody. They know who's contacted me, and they run that person before they'll even let them through to me. They know. Every time somebody connects with me, they find out who that person is. So I say, what makes me important? Why should that make me important? It's a bad situation that we are all in. Y'all better daggone sure be secretive. If there's anything anybody's cooking up, you better keep it on the low. I'm telling you right now, you better stay away from all structures, especially if it's got towers or dishes or electricity going through it or anything. Y'all better watch your sixes when y'all are getting together and talking and discussing anything. Hey folks, GWT here. I got a question for you. Don't get scared. Why is the Bible considered the oldest and the most circulated book? They're saying that this is just about of all time. So why is it considered the oldest? And why is it considered the most circulated, the most number of copies sold and circulated? Let me tell you, do you know the answer? Think about it for a minute before I say anything else. Why is that book known to be the oldest book with the most copies printed by the government's print shops, edited and okayed by the government's agencies and programs who want to search all the detail in these things out? Then it's presented to you. And then it's got just buku resales, but they're still editing it and changing it and playing with it. I mean, it's a really big thing. Why is that? Just consider. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I think. It's the government's #1 control over the mind of man. I really mean it. Even people who don't even think about being a Christian or don't profess to be a Christian, they know enough about what's in the Bible. They've heard enough about what's in the Bible that it has some effect on their conscience. That's why it's referred to as the living word. Because see, inspiration comes from anybody, from any direction. Just remember, folks, look at these videos with an open mind. Hello folks, GWT here. I got a question for you. Why is the Bible considered the oldest and the most circulated book, the most reprints, the most everything of all time? That's a lot of money. It's the government's #1 control over the mind of man. That's what the answer is. I'm sure you could have thought of that too, if you were open-minded enough. And the rest of man is instinctive. When you control a man's spirit, he ain't got nothing left but instinct. When you see death and displacement with your own eyes that comes from storms, folks, I'm going to ask you a question. How do you think and feel about sitting in your own home watching television, eating dinner, or laying in your bed at 1 or 2 a.m. in the morning, sleeping soundly, and a bomb, one of many, falls not too far from the house that you're in, or the building that you're in, or it hits your building, and everybody who used to know you knows that you've been vaporized? Have any of y'all ever considered being in your homes and feeling safe and secure and all comfy and everything, and then your neighborhood, your town, your city just begins to be rained on by bombs and missiles and phosphorus rockets, plasma cannons, laser cannons, sound weapons? Y'all never think about that, do you? Well, you know, there's a whole lot of countries now that just ain't no more. And they didn't think about that either. Let me ask you about these tectonic weapons. Here's another question for you. When do you see any death and displacement storms destroying military bases or facilities, or even hitting them with anything but snow or some rain? Have you ever heard of any United Nations installation being damaged by a storm? Have you ever heard of a HARP facility being damaged by a storm? No, you haven't. And it's because they are within the circle that controls the storms.